You know, it's funny. Every time I bring up the fact that we should have a federal national ID card, there's always somebody who shoots me down and says that we shouldn't need to have a national ID card to vote, which is strange because we need a national ID card and we need a state ID card to do other things. For instance, we have a social security card which we're supposed to use in order to claim things like tax returns. We have a driver's license, which is certified by the state, which allows us to drive in our state, and we're allowed to cross state lines with other states. So it seems to me that it's not so far-fetched that we have a national ID card. Here's the problem, though. The Democrats want illegal aliens to be able to vote for them because they know they're going to vote for more welfare, and they don't want those people to be able to work and interrupt the unions. As far as the Democrats are concerned, these people can get old and fat off of welfare checks. But the other problem on the flip side of the coin is the Republicans want illegal aliens to work so that they will disrupt the unions and break them down. But they don't want them to vote because all they'll do is vote for more Democrat handouts of welfare. So basically, all of these illegal aliens who are here and all of their children who are here thanks to the 14th Amendment, which was originally put there for freed slaves, mind you, to legitimize their role as citizens in this country. These people are playing both sides of the coin. As far as I'm concerned, Republicans and Democrats take turns robbing the bank and driving the getaway car. So now I turn on the news and I see fake news channel MSNBC, fake news, mind you, fake news channel MSNBC running this bullshit from this guy, John Lewis. I don't see Trump as a legitimate president. So basically, you already know, because I've already said this a couple of times, the left-wing lunatics did their best to play up quote-unquote Russian hacking as much as they possibly could, because these idiots were bought in by that moron Jill Stein, who actually thought that not only could she get lots of money from these idiots who were going to donate, but she also thought that if they could get the Electoral College to somehow stop this and overturn the election, that they'd be able to overturn the election. Well, guess what happened, idiots? It didn't happen. So, when the Electoral College met, they confirmed the electoral votes. So now what you're dealing with is a bunch of these hyperactive savages who want to overturn the Electoral College because the little snowflakes didn't get what they wanted this time around, and they have to see this guy in office for 4 years doing his song and dance routine and saying pretty much whatever he feels like saying, and they just can't take it. And then on top of that, their psyche has been shattered because Obama is packing his bags, leaving the White House never to return. So what you get is assholes like this who want to start delegitimizing the president. And if you call them on it and say, well, why are you trying to do that? They'll try to point back to the Republicans. Oh, yeah, well, they said Obama wasn't American. They said Obama was a Muslim. They tried to delegitimize him. So what you're telling me is that as an American citizen taxpayer, I paid over $50,000 in taxes last year. What you're telling me is that an American citizen, all I have to look forward to is you assholes going back and forth, attacking each other and delegitimizing every president. Let me tell you what's happening. The presidency has become a cult of personality. These senators, these congressmen, these people have become a cult of personality, and the people, the sheep, are just stupid enough to vote them in and vote them out based on how they feel about them, regardless whether or not they're getting anything done. The problem with term limits, and I'd love to see these people in danger of losing their jobs every couple of years, but the problem with term limits is people don't want term limits to get rid of their congressman. They want term limits to get rid of your congressman. What they want is anytime they see somebody on television who's a congressperson or a senator saying something that they don't like, what they want is to be able to get rid of that person, not their person. They'll keep voting their person in. And if Obama could run for a third term, if there was no 22nd Amendment, they'd vote him right back in. They're trying to delegitimize him. The Democrat Party, the CIA, the FBI, I don't trust anything that any of them say. They haven't produced a shred of proof about Russian hacking. What I still demand, any of you who hear my voice, I demand that anytime you hear somebody say Russian hacking, I demand that you say, explain to me how they hacked into computers that are not connected to the internet. Because I know that shit's not true. They haven't produced a shred of proof. All they do is repeat the lie, and they get these angry little snowflake morons to repeat the lie for them. So, take it a step further. Not only haven't they produced a shred of proof that there was any Russian hacking, but on top of that, what they did was they quickly moved to get rid of what they called the Russian spies out of New York in some penthouse or some big house. So here's what you're telling me. You're telling me that you knew these people were already here. If now, first of all, just because you try to prosecute somebody doesn't necessarily mean they actually committed a crime. And not only that, they didn't get prosecuted for a crime. What they did was they got deported. They were told that you have to leave. They were forcibly removed. They were told that you have to leave right now. So nobody has stood trial for anything. Guess what? If they had stand trial for hacking this election, then they would possibly be charged with some form of espionage. And then you'd have to produce evidence. I haven't seen any evidence. They haven't told us any evidence that they have, because they have none. They're liars. This is fake news. Fake news. You see that? You see that? Fake news. That's what this is. So, they haven't produced any evidence at all. They haven't explained how the Russians hack computers not connected to the internet. And now what they're trying to do is delegitimize yet another president. Because, I mean, well, if you really think about it, they've been doing this for a while, actually. They said Obama was a Muslim. He was born in Kenya. He's not a real president. Then if you take it back to George W. Bush, well, Al Gore won the popular vote by 500,000 or 500 and something thousand votes. They tried to delegitimize George W. Bush. Now, public opinion is probably against George W. Bush because of the Iraq war and whatnot, but that's only if you believe what has been said by these lunatic left liberals who have basically said that 9/11 was a false flag operation. But see, the problem is if you repeat a lie, you get the sheep to believe it, the weak-minded. You get them to believe it. All you got to do is just keep repeating it and repeating it and repeating it. Eventually, the questions suddenly morph into premises that are already preset before they ask the question. Like, for instance, they've got Trump agreeing with them about Russian hacking. So when they ask a question, their loaded questions start off by do you think Russian hacking should be stopped? Well, first of all, I have to agree to your premise that there actually was Russian hacking. Now, if there was, then my next question would be, well, what did this government, what did these Republicans, what did these Democrats, what did they do to stop that hacking that was inevitable before it actually happened? These people are the scum of the earth. All of them. They're the scum of the earth. And let me tell you something. A lot of people, why'd you vote for Trump? Why'd you vote for... Michael Moore, I think, said it best. He was the best Molotov cocktail that I could legally throw at this establishment to try to burn it down. And it was legal. It was a vote. It was a legal vote. What did Michael Moore say? He said, that was the last legal option that I had, the right to vote. And I was going to pick up that Molotov and throw it, regardless what happened. I voted to unleash hell on earth on these people. And now it's here. Strangely enough, it actually came true. These people, these fake news, MSNBC, this loser. Look at this guy. You see this guy? You see this guy? This loser? You see him? You see the lack of hope in his eyes? You see how they hang on to every single tweet that Trump makes? Every single thing, they hang on to it because it's all they got. It's all they'll ever have. Most likely, Trump is going to treat MSNBC exactly the way that Obama treated Fox News. We have a triumvirate in the media. All we're fed is fake news. The presidency, these Congress people, they've become a cult of personality. They're trying to shape the news. That's what they're trying to do, shape the news. They're trying to make it whatever they feel it is, whatever they believe. They're these over intellectuals. Everybody, if you notice, all these losers have PhDs in bullshit. Not a single one of them is a real doctor, and they demand you call them doctor because it helps them feel better about themselves. These people can't set a bone. These people can't do anything. Ben Carson's a real doctor. He can work on your brain. He can open up your skull and work on your brain. These people are the scum of the earth. They're the scum of the earth. And I hope over the next 4 years, I hope Trump gives them so much hell. I hope that just like what he did to that guy at, what is it, BuzzFeed or whatever, I hope he collapses them. I hope their records, I hope their ratings go through the floor. That's what I hope. And that's what reason why I voted for Donald Trump.